What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Young Moguls podcast, where we keep it real, relatable, and super motivational. It's your girl, Reagan.
And it's your boy, Real MJ Hill. Today, y'all, we have a special guest. We have our friend, SSANYU. Guys, she's an author. She's an entrepreneur, a business owner, a motivational speaker. And she is going to give you all so much knowledge, so much game, and just share her story today. Because y'all already know our mission is to inspire, motivate, and educate our generation. So look, SSANYU, just to get it started off, if we're to ask you, who is SSANYU, what would you say?
In one word, I would say leader, because I always try to find spaces where I can have a leadership role, or even if I'm not in a leadership role, I'm still trying to learn from whoever's in charge. And I think it's really important as a young person to go out of your way to show people that you can be a leader. And that doesn't necessarily mean being the most extroverted person in the room, which a lot of the time I am the most extroverted in the room, or one of the most extroverted people in the room, because I love to talk. But outside of that, I think that everybody has different leadership qualities, whether that be through empathetic bonds, whether that be through showing somebody that you care, or just going out of your way to complete a full job, just trying to find a way to be a leader. So I've been working on that from a very young age, and I'm still always developing, learning, and growing about how I can be a better leader and how I can work well with other people. So in one word, I would say that I am a leader.
Wow, that's beautiful. That's so inspiring right there. And all we did was ask you to tell us like what you would explain yourself, how you would explain yourself as. And that's so motivational. Like I just said, I think being a leader is so very important. And there's so many different arenas that you can do that in. I feel like some people get the sense that I can't be a leader, or I'm not necessarily a leader just because you're not the leader that society defines you to be or defines you should be. But everybody has that one thing that they're great at. Everybody has that God-given gift that they're a leader in. So thank you so much for sharing that. I do want to ask you, you do so many different things, so many inspirational things, and you wear so many hats. But one thing specifically that I want to touch on is that you are the founder of Brown Kids Read. Can you tell us a little bit about that and what initially inspired you to get that started?
Yes, so Brown Kids Read is a nonprofit organization that I started when I was 13 years old, and our mission is to motivate all children, but especially children of color, to read more diverse literature. So we have quite a few ways that we do that. The first way is through our Brown Reads bookshelf, which is an online and pop-up bookstore where all the books are written by and or featuring people of color. So we bring that pop-up bookstore to different events, whether it be a church community day, a schools event. We do kind of like scholastic bookstores, but the Brown Reads bookshelf for schools. And all of the profit from those go back into our programs, whether that be an essay contest for kids to read a book and then write an essay about how they related to the story, or whether that be a program that we're starting up pretty soon for kids to actually have reading tutoring, and the materials that they use are all main character POC kids. So just different ways to get into the community and get kids excited about reading. And that's basically what Brown Kids Read does. But to answer the other side of your question, you asked me why I decided to start it. And there are quite a few different reasons why. The first one came from a conversation when I was about 12 years old. There was a kid who I was really close with. We were friends for a long time. We still are. We just don't talk as much anymore because I moved. But he is from Puerto Rico, and he was expressing to me how in our town, he did not see books that represented kids like him. And he was talking to me about why he didn't like reading as much anymore, why he just wasn't interested. And he was like, it's just because I don't see books like that have kids that look like me. So why am I going to go out of my way to read a story about somebody I can't even relate to if on the baseline I don't see anybody that I can relate to? So I had that in the back of my mind for quite a few months. And then when I was 13, I already had a party entertainment company and a face painting company, and two authors approached me and they wanted to partner to do an event at our local Barnes and Noble. And we had to come up with a name for this event. So we came up with Brown Kids Read. And it's funny because Brown Kids Read wasn't supposed to be a nonprofit in the first place. But after that event, we had we at that event we had crafts, we had story times. I did a character performance, so I memorized a children's book, then I got a costume. My grandma made it for me, and it was like the main character in the book, so I performed that for the kids, and it was just a really great experience overall, and I wanted to replicate that for as many kids as possible. So that's why I decided to start Brown Kids Read, and we became a 501c3 in November of that year. So that's when we officially became a nonprofit organization. But it came from that conversation with my friend, and then that very first event where it really sparked something inside of me. And now we do a bunch of programs and events to get kids excited, which is awesome. And I've always loved to read since I was like 4 years old. So being able to turn that into my job as a teenager has been amazing.
No, I love that. And I think just your mission and the reason you started it like means like the most to me. I think that was definitely something that I didn't even realize as a kid. Like when I was looking at these different books, it was like nobody that represented me a lot of the times. But like what you're doing with your organization is just so powerful. And I really want to give you your flowers on that. And
Thank
also
you.
you said a 5013. What was that? Is that like
501c3.
oh that does that mean like a nonprofit organization?
Yeah, so there are different kinds of nonprofit organizations, and 501c3 is specifically one where you can be tax exempt. So we don't
Mm,
pay taxes on supplies for our events or,
okay.
things similar to that.
100%. And what's it called? I know you wrote a lot of books, right? I saw you had some books that you written already. So like what has been your favorite book and like what has been like the meaning behind that book?
So currently, I've only written and published one book, which is Subi Sunny Smile in the back
Mhm.
here. I just finished writing the manuscript for my second book called Chi Chi's Toothy Grin, which I'm excited about. And
Mhm.
the other books that I really display on social media are written by an author named Christy Lauren Adams. And she
Okay.
writes books that are specifically geared about Black girls and Black leadership and
Oh,
humanizing Black girls. So the last two books that she wrote were called Black Girls Unbossed and Unbossed: How Black Girls Are Leading the Way. She chose
mm.
8 different girls, 8 different stories to, oh, I actually have the copy of Black Girls Unbossed right here. She actually, this is the
Yep.
cover of it. That's the middle grade version. And then Unbossed: How Black Girls Are Leading the Way is the young adult version. But what she did is she took 8 different stories. She interviewed all 8 of us girls. And then she basically wrote about us in the book, wrote about our missions, our different organizations. Is a girl in there who made an app called Not Okay to help kids with their mental health. There's another girl who started an organization to raise money for cancer since she's a cancer survivor. So she really decided to give us a spotlight in order to help other kids know that this is possible and to
Right.
understand that no matter where you're from, no matter what you're doing, you can make a positive impact on people. So Black Girls Unbossed and Unbossed: How Black Girls Are Leading the Way are 2 of my favorite books overall that I've read, but I gotta do it. My favorite children's book is Subi Sunny Smile. It's
Hmm.
my little baby, so that is my favorite children's book.
Wow.
No, that's amazing.
Go ahead.
No, you got it, Reagan. I
Okay.
know you got some questions right there. I
Okay.
got you.
That's absolutely so inspirational. I'm gonna need you to like text me that book and get that title
Yes.
because I mean that's so inspiring. Just hearing you talk about it and talk about the summary and talk about like what you learned and how inspirational it is, that's like absolutely crazy. And that kind of leads me into my next question, which were what have been some of your biggest challenges? Because I completely relate to you in the arena when it comes to being a young Black girl. And those are 3 things, like 3 big challenges that we face as young Black girls because there's not a lot of space for us to get up there and to be able to succeed and to be able to accomplish the dreams that we have desired to accomplish. But there are like a few of us that just have that determination, that have a desire to do so and end
Yeah.
up finding our way through and succeeding. So I want to ask you, like, what is your way that you got through? What are some of the biggest challenges that you've had to overcome, and how have you overcome them?
I'll start off with a story to kind of illustrate my point. So, what year was this? This was like in the height of COVID. So maybe June of 2020, like we just
Okay.
got quarantined. Kids were ending out their school year virtually.
Mhm.
And I don't know if you guys know the app House Party. but I was
No.
on House Party a lot. Okay, so essentially it's like, well, they deleted the app. The app is like dead now, but it's this app where you can go
Okay.
on and talk to other kids, but you can make friends on there, and you can also talk to people who aren't your friend, but they have to be a friend of a friend.
Okay.
So I would talk to a lot of people on House Party, and there was a conversation where we were talking about our goals and aspirations, us being my friend group and I. And we're all a group of very driven Black teenage kids. And I was talking about how one day I would like to run for president. And I do want to run for president. I've been interested in it for a long time because I want to make a positive impact on people. And one of the kids who wasn't necessarily my friend said that he doesn't think that I can do it because who is going to want a young, dark-skinned Black girl as their president? And I was like, ooh, all right.
Wow.
Let me relax and check my response for a second so that I can guard my witness and make sure that I still represent myself as who I am. So
Right.
I took a step back and I just tried to explain to him why what he said could be hurtful to somebody and why it was kind of ignorant to say in the first place, because I know that my work ethic can get me there. And
Right.
I know that I can't depend on other people's congratulations to edify myself. But at the same time, I know that I can do it. So I don't want anybody to see me and see when people like say things like that to me and my reaction isn't a positive reaction per
Right.
se
I know
to
what you're
help them
saying.
understand what's going on. So in terms of the young Black girl part of it, I took that situation and now I always have it in the back of my head because I understand the gravity that the disadvantages can come with being young, being Black, and being a girl on top of that. I mean, there's different issues that people have with each one of those demographics, especially the young one as well, because I know both of you guys can relate. We're all teenagers. So I'm sure that you guys have had interactions with adults, or I hope you haven't, but unfortunately, it's a reality for a lot of us being teenpreneurs that they don't think we can do it, or they don't think we're doing it on our own, or that there's an
Yeah.
adult who's running things behind the scenes. And I'm
Right.
you have to believe in the power of young people because we're going to be the next generation. So in terms of being young, Black girl, I am glad that I am all three of those things. I'm very proud that I'm all three of those things. And my goal is to be a role model for other people to see that young Black girls can do it.
No, I think that's very moving because I totally relate to you on that point of being young and having people doubt you. And I think, there comes like a lot of conversations and it's like you're working so hard, right? And you're doing all these things for your business, for reaching your goal. Like you're doing a lot of things behind the scenes, and they still think there's somebody doing it for you. And they still think you can't do it because you're young, right? And I think that was really moving, like your perseverance, even when that, and they would let that hinder them, right? But instead, you turned his words into fuel to motivate you to continue doing great things. And I think that's really powerful. So, like, where did that come from? Like, where did that, perseverance come from? Like, look, I don't care what anybody says. I'm not even going to respond to them with negativity. I'm going to respond to them in a proper way, right? In a positive way. And I'm going to keep doing me. Where did that come from?
So when I was younger, I was a kid who was very talkative, very loud, and I liked to tell people what to do. And people will always say that I was bossy. I was so bossy. And it was kind of frustrating because I didn't mean to be bossy. It was just who I was. So when my parents heard people saying this about me, they decided to shift the narrative and say that I'm a leader instead. So that kind of mentality of taking something that has negative connotations around it and turning it into something positive and using it for good is how I built that perseverance. And now when I encounter challenges and obstacles that may seem in the first split seconds that it may be impossible to defeat, then I really think back to myself and I'm like, okay, if people can climb Mount Everest, if people can create devices like cell phones and Bluetooth and AirPods, then why can't I run for president? Like,
Right.
amazing things can happen in this world. Amazing things do happen in this world, and they will continue to occur. So I can't limit myself, and I can't stop myself from trying to break through that ceiling and complete something amazing on my own and with the help of other people as well.
Right.
So I just don't doubt myself. I don't want to ever doubt myself and continue to believe in myself, because it'll take me far, and I've seen it take other people far as well.
Right.
Wow, that's so inspiring. I hear a lot about how you change the narrative and how you switch the perspective on saying, no, I'm a leader. I don't have to take that
Right.
from you. I know who I am. I know the dreams and goals that I have a desire to achieve. And I know my purpose that I am going to pursue. But I do want to ask you, has there ever been a time where you did think about what somebody said and it kind of set you back a little bit, or you thought about it too long and you kind of got stuck in a pit and you didn't really know where to go?
Oh yeah, that happened when I was writing CV Sunny Smile. I had a lot of writer's block, and I would watch so many YouTube videos about being a self-published author, and some of them would say things that were kind of a double-edged sword for me, because I'm a perfectionist and I really like to get things right the first time. So when I
Right.
don't get things right the first time, it's very frustrating. And I would watch these videos, and they would say sometimes if you can't write it, maybe it's not for you. And it was only a couple of videos that said it, but it was like,
You're
if you're
right.
going through so much writer's block, and if you're really struggling to find out how to write this and get it right, then maybe you should choose another thing. And I was like, but I want to write the book.
Right.
So how are we
Right.
gonna overcome this? Like, you can't just sit there and tell me. And that's when I was like, okay, let's switch to another creator, because I didn't want to internalize that too much and then create a mindset in the back of my head that I wouldn't be
Yeah.
able to write the book and then eventually stall and procrastinate and not get it out.
Yeah.
So at first I did think about that, because I'm a perfectionist and I wanted to get the every single word right. I didn't want to go through too many rounds of edits. I didn't want to take too long to get the manuscript out. And I was like, Sanyu, stop. You're gonna have to. You can't just expect to be perfect and not go through challenges and struggle a couple of times. Like, it's gonna
Yeah.
be inevitable. So I had to break out of that mindset. It didn't last for too long, maybe 15 minutes, but I sometimes do struggle with questioning if something is the right thing to do, not necessarily if I can do it. So when I heard that phrase for the first time, I was like, is this the right thing to do? But clearly it was, because CV Sunny
Yeah.
Smile is doing really well. So I'm excited about that.
Man, I love to hear that. And I think one thing that I'm realizing, throughout this conversation, you do not let other people's words become your reality. And
Yeah.
I think that's what a lot of us need to start doing. Like, what other people say doesn't have to be true for you. And other people's experiences don't have to be your experiences. And I think that happens a lot, with just being a young entrepreneur. Like, you get told you can't a lot. You get told there's a lot of limitations a lot of the times. Like, I mean, even when you look at, like the legal, like the legal documents, you can't even be you can't even be under 18 to start a business. Like you need somebody to help you do that. And I think, that's just one thing we have to start doing. Like, never let another person's opinion, become true in your reality. Like, you have to choose, like, if this is what I want to do, I'm going to do it no matter what anybody says. And I think once we get that into our minds, us young entrepreneurs, I'm telling you, it's just going to take us so far, because you can't let another person's words become your reality. So I think that's huge. And like, you have so many goals. You've already done so much. And how old are you right now?
I'm 17.
17 right now. You've already done so much already at 17. So, like, within the next 5 years, like, what are some of the biggest goals you want to hit?
So in the next 5 years, I'll be 22. I hopefully will be graduating. Actually, I'm not going to say hopefully. I will be graduating from Howard
Mhm.
University, because that's my top pick. I'm going to speak it into existence.
Okay.
At Howard. So I want to be graduating from Howard University with a degree in communications, concentration in journalism, media, and film. And
Okay.
by the time I graduate from college, I would also like to establish my public speaking company at least 1 year. So that's going to be my goal when I go to college. I have a lot of plans. So let me
Yeah.
break them down. Let's talk about Brown Kids Read. When I
Okay.
go to Washington, D.C., which is where Howard University is, I would like to continue Brown Kids Read and do events with schools that are in the surrounding community. I'd also like to keep up my online bookshelf, the Brown Reads bookshelf. Hopefully I'll have inventory back at home because my sister is my executive assistant, so she'll be able to ship out the books whenever we get orders, and I'll be able to do the in-person. I also want to find a successor to keep doing pop-up bookstores in New Jersey, New York, and Pennsylvania so that we can keep up that community engagement in the Northeast. Then after that, for my publishing company called Share Smile Books, I'd really like to grow that a little bit more. I'm on the way to publishing our very first client. His name is Devin Moore. Just announced his book launch yesterday, so I'm really, really excited for him. And I love helping other people publish their books. So
Mhm.
I'd love to continue Share Smile Books. And when I'm older, I want to make it into a big name publishing company,
Yeah.
real estate, the whole nine. So that's what I want to do for Share Smile Books. Then for my public speaking company, I would love to create an opportunity for youth to be in a public speaking program where they build those skills at a young age and
Yeah.
continue to use them for good in the future. So whether that be giving them an opportunity to compete. So that's definitely going to be a part of it. Hopefully we'll be
Mhm.
able to have in-person and virtual competitions, public speaking wise, different categories. I would also like to be able to hire them out so that they get professional public speaking experience, whether that be through the corporate world or at schools, wherever a company would like to hire a young person to come and talk, and just giving them that other stream of income when they're adult. Being able to
Right.
be a public speaker and a motivational speaker as an adult, in addition to whatever job, whatever profession you want to go into, can be
Yeah.
great because if speaking is inside of you, if it's something that's not a chore or a struggle for you to do, and you
Yeah.
can go somewhere and get paid $1,500 for a 2-hour presentation, that's
Right.
crazy. So I
Here.
just want to be able to create those opportunities for kids, especially teenagers as well.
Wow.
Yo, that is so amazing. And one thing I really want to point out, y'all, you are so clear on your goals. Like you're clear on what you want to do.
Yeah.
So like how important do you think it is to like write down your goals, to make it plain and to really like visualize, like you already internalized it. Like you see how things are gonna go. Like how important do you think that is like when it comes to accomplishing these things?
It is of the utmost importance. I give a workshop to different high schools called How to Not Stress and Still Have Success. And I
Love it.
created this, yes, I created this acronym. Is it an acronym? I created this method. I called it the MGOG method.
Okay.
Yes, it stands for manage your emotions, goal setting, organization, and grit. And when I talk about the goal setting aspect of it, I always use the acronym SMART goal. That's why acronym is in my head. I always use the acronym SMART goals. And for everyone listening, if you don't know what SMART stands for, it stands for strategic, manageable,
I would help you if I knew.
achievable. I was
Yes.
having a brain fart. Strategic, manageable, achievable, not reasonable, and time bound, whatever the R is.
Yep.
I was having a brain fart, guys. Okay, so and that's fine, sometimes your brain just goes out. But that's what SMART stands for. And I always try to create my goals according to that. So I go through each point of the SMART goals acronym. And even if the words I just used weren't completely accurate to what it is, sometimes they're interchangeable. So if you're interested in learning more about that, just look it up on Google. You can find it in literally any Google search.
The R is relevant.
Relevant. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
It was bothering me. Yes, but that's what the SMART goals acronym stands for. I always write down my goals at the beginning of every school year. And since I'm homeschooled, my mom would do that with my siblings and I at the beginning of every school year since 6th grade, we sit down the first day of school, write down each one of our goals, measure it by the SMART goals acronym, and see if it's something that we want to pursue throughout the year. So that's
Yeah.
what I've been doing, and I do that every year. Last year, my goal was to publish a children's book, did that. I wanted to be featured by Essence by the time I was 17. I got featured last year. Like you gotta write them down and speak it into existence, and it'll come true. You just have to put the work for it. So I think it's so absolutely so important to write down your goals, so because it's so much easier to visualize.
Yeah. And I think that's all we need sometimes is a vision.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of times we know what we want, but when we don't write it down, we can't really articulate it and internalize how we want. It's like we have this dream in our mind, but it's like if we don't put it on paper and say, all right, this is what I'm going to do. This is when I want to do it. I think that's really what we got to start focusing on. Like, write down your goals and make it plain because it's possible for you. And like, once we get that in our mind, we're unstoppable, really. Write down those goals. You can use the SMART goals, whatever goals you want to use. Write them things down because I'm telling you, all of your dreams can start coming true.
Exactly. And situations like, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I was just gonna say, like, situations like that will arise where you need to know exactly what your goals are because other people are gonna want to help you out.
Right.
Last Sunday, yeah, a week from now, I had a pop-up bookstore, and there was this guy there who was browsing, and it actually, oh, let me tell you guys. So I was able to partner with this organization called the Chrysalis Project, where we were able to give out 650 books for free last Sunday to the Plainfield community in New Jersey. And I was so excited because we've never been able to give away that many books before through Brown Kids Read. The max we'd done was like 250. So 650 was insane. There was a guy who came up to the table and I was inside doing a story time, but my mom was outside and she told me about how he was talking about how he was so touched by Brown Kids Read. And I had been articulating all day that my goal for Brown Kids Read was eventually to be able to give away as many free books as possible. So when he heard this, he was like, oh, okay. He took out his wallet, took out every dollar bill he had in there, and he gave it to my mom and said, this will help you guys start. Because I was able to articulate my goals and because people knew what I wanted to do with my business. So being able to say it out loud, write it down, make it available for people to see and understand, it can really help you in the long run. Because now we have seed money to be able to buy books to give away to kids for free.
Oh my goodness. Look, if that's
you
thing I didn't heard, like what?
That's insane. And it's like so inspiring because to be honest, like everything that you've said probably in the past like 10 minutes about all the goals that you have achieved, it sounds like a lot. Like you have done so much and it is a lot. I'm not saying it's not, but it's a lot. But those things were attainable because you wrote them down and you articulated them, not just on paper, but in the atmosphere. Because like you said, you're going to want to do it as much as you want to do it. There are people out there that want to get behind you. They may not know how to do it, or they may not have the passion to do it, but it's something that they want to get behind and they are willing to put their money where their mouth is and help you, but you have to speak it. You have to put it in the atmosphere and you have to be willing to do all that you can do to be able to get that thing out there. So one thing that I do want to say though, is I love your vulnerability. Like I love your personality so much. And I think that's important, especially when it comes to achieving your goals, because it's important to show ourselves. And that's how we find true success, being completely vulnerable. Some people they try to put up masks and they can't figure out why they can't find success. And it's simply because they're not being themselves. And I can truly say with my utmost 100% confidence that you are being yourself. And that's why you're finding so much success. That's how you'll continue to find success. And I really admire that about you. So thank you for being so vulnerable and inspiring me through this interview. Like we came to ask.
No, seriously.
And like, I'm so inspired. So thank you so much.
No,
thank you for having me on.
To go.
No, of course.
What'd you say?
Oh, me? Oh, I said thank you for having me on.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. This is like so wonderful. I'm so happy and excited because I love being motivated. Me being a motivator, I love being motivated because you know, you can't give and not receive, right? And so receiving, guys, I'm receiving. But we have like 4 minutes left, I believe. So we're going to go ahead and end it off with our most famous question. Our young moguls already know it. But Sanyu, what would you say your one key to being a young mogul is?
My one key to being a young mogul is exactly what you were talking about, and it's about being yourself. know who you are. Because if you don't know who you are, then how are you going to present yourself accurately to other people? I know that I'm a talker, so of course I'm going to do speaking engagements. I know that I love to learn by video, so I'm going to listen to those, all of the education that I have about social media marketing, branding, personal branding. It comes from YouTube videos because I learn better when I listen. So the way you consume information, the way you learn from other people is essential if you want to continue and if you want to start being a teen influencer and being a positive influence on other people. Because in order to do something well and to be in it and be educated about it, you need to be able to learn from other people and learn from other people's experience. So be yourself and know who you are, but also be able to learn. And I've met, and unfortunately, I've spoken to so many different teenage entrepreneurs who either didn't know what they were talking about, and me as an outsider who's not even in their industry knew they didn't know what they were talking about, or I knew they weren't being true to themselves because
Right.
I know what it looks like when someone's putting up a facade. So that makes me not want to buy their product. It makes me not want to support them as much because it feels like I don't actually know who they are. And as human beings, we're going to want to contribute and support someone or something that feels authentic. Like I have an example, MJ, all of your fitness videos, all of your stuff, that motivates me to go to the basketball gym. Like I really, even though it's the off season, sometimes I just really don't feel like working out. But I know that it's in your personality and it's authentic to you to be a motivator and show people through your videos that they can do it. So stuff like that, if it were somebody who I know that all they do is sit on the couch and eat chips and they're going out for 30 seconds and recording a fitness video and saying they do this for 2 hours every day, I'm like, what in the world? That's gonna make you feel like you're a hypocrite and not want to do what you're saying to do. So just be authentic and true to yourself and people will want to support you.
That is so huge. And SSANYU, where can everybody find you? Because people gotta come support SSANYU. Come on.
Okay, so there's a couple different ways. I'm going to go through the Instagrams, then I'm going to go through the website, and then I'm going to the email. So my Instagram accounts are SSANYUSPEAKS. So that's the way you spell my name, SSANYU speaks, like talks a lot. SSANYUSPEAKS. Then there's Share a Smile Books, which is the publishing company Instagram account where you can find information about Subi's Sunny Smile, Chi-Chi's Toothy Grand, and Devin's upcoming book called Devin Speaks Up. Then there is Brown Kids Read, which is for my nonprofit organization. You can find books, information, interviews, everything on there. I also have a podcast called The Book Junkie. So you can look that on any podcasting streaming site that you like. I use Spotify. You may use Google Podcasts, whatever it may be. You can go and give it a listen. I also have two websites, SSANYU Speaks and brownkidsread.org. So SSANYU Speaks is .com and then brownkidsread.org. And then if you have absolutely any questions about being a teenage entrepreneur, about starting your own business, writing a book, doing a podcast, anything, I have materials and resources for you. So just shoot me over an email at sanyuspeaks@gmail.com and I'll get back to you within 24 to 48 hours to help you out. I give free teenpreneur consulting, so you can just send me a DM on Instagram if you're interested in that. And then I also have two freebies. One is about building your personal brand, and one is starting your business from the ground up. So you can go to my Instagram bio for SSANYU Speaks and sign up for my email list, and they'll send to you automatically.
Oh man. Hey, look, we're gonna have all of her links, all of her social medias, her email, all of that in the description, so you guys can make sure to connect with SSANYU because she is out here really trying to make an impact. Not even trying, she's making an impact, and I know she's gonna help you. So look, I hope young moguls, I hope y'all enjoyed this. SSANYU, thank you so much for coming on. It's been a pleasure having you.
Thank you for having me on. It's so nice to meet you guys and be able to talk to you. I've been following you guys on Instagram for the longest, so this is awesome. So thank you.
100%. We're supporting you all the way.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, SSANYU, for coming on. Young Moguls, as you guys already know, we're going to have everything in the description, like Marquise just said. But we love you guys so much, and we're out. Bye.
Bye.